been. We've talked about it for a while. Those of you that know me from YouTube know the Doomy Clipboard of Doom. I'm Spaz Phoenix.
This is Bird.
This is Bird. We're going to talk about Walking Dead in a show called Walking Stuff and Dead Things. Because, yeah, stuff and things. Thanks, Adrian. Alright, the premiere was last Sunday, and we've been trying for, what is it, going on 4 days now to actually get together to do a video.
Yep.
You went away and did silly Thanksgiving family stuff.
Stuff
and things, yeah. I had Thanksgiving stuff as well, but I sort of told the family, hey, sorry, Walking Dead's on. And by the way, guys, Husky, $10. Moving on. Premiere. Overall thoughts on the premiere?
Overall thoughts. Personally, I loved it. I loved the intensity.
Not at all what we were expecting based on where we left off.
No, it was a completely different, because, I don't know, from the last end of series of the episode, it was them in the container, and it's just like they're screwing with the wrong people. And then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, they're going to have this
big war.
Yeah, they're going to have this big war with, random shit that they found with, like, in their jackets. And
yeah, pretty much. I don't know about you. Not that this is a show that's particularly cookie cutter, but like we had pretty much one season that was on the campground, one season that was on the farm, a season and a bit that were in the prison. Yeah. We pretty much get used to like situating ourselves in new settings. I figured for this season that was going to be Terminus, but not so much.
No, it wasn't, and that was another thing I picked up on too, was because everything else has been an entire season of a specific location, and at the end of the season, you go off to the new location.
Or at least getting there.
Or at least getting there.
Like in the situation where we were on the highway and we were looking for Sophia, that was to get us to the farm. But figured that this whole, like, especially with the way they built it, that this whole season was going to be about Terminus, and that lasted about, I would say, 45 minutes or so.
Yeah. Like,
without commercials.
With the last, I guess the last quarter of the season of season 4, where it was, okay, we found, we know about Terminus now, so we're all going to get there, hopefully, because everybody's split up from this entire war at the prison, and now we split off.
The Susie Homemaker chick at the front gates serving the very suspicious-looking food should have been a sign.
Yeah.
100%. It's not Soylent Green exactly, but it's still bad.
Yeah.
Like, we know some pretty attractive people between the two of us. I'm not sure I'd want to eat any of them, at least not that way.
Not that way.
Started off pretty decently. We started off with a bang. The opening scene at the trough there.
That was pretty gruesome. And I think that was quite a turn from what The Walking Dead has usually been in terms of goriness to the people and visual goriness.
Yeah. Well, I figure that it's the next step up from the governor and his aquarium full of heads.
Yeah. Well, the whole glass in the eye thing, that was pretty gruesome. But I mean, like, for the majority of the seasons that it's been, we've had gunshots.
Yeah. What helps with the glass,
like digital splatter.
Yeah,
we can say.
What helped with the glass in the eye situation, though, is anything you saw after that was very obviously like a prosthetic added on eye thing. The throat effect with the
it's a lot different from when they're like killing zombies, because you can't personify yourself to the zombie because they're already dead. You know they're supposed to be the bad guys.
And even the people that get killed by the zombies, it's just like, okay, we just saw somebody else get eaten.
Yeah, like
they get eaten, they go down, they turn, they become a zombie, and then we don't care that they die or not. Yeah. But these guys, it's just one of those, it's the typical reminder, and it's it's what I always tell people, and I'm pretty sure you've done the same thing, when you're trying to convince somebody to watch The Walking Dead, and they're like, it's a zombie show. It's like, no, it's a show about people. Zombies are a thing. Yeah. Zombies are definitely a thing, but people suck. Yeah. It really is true. For the most part, yeah, gory opening scene, because I analyze shit way too much, and shit bothers me that shouldn't bother me, it was very obvious the way it was, especially when they panned out and they showed the whole trough.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but it reminded me of when they were still in the prison, and they brought in all the people from Woodbury to join the prison. It's like, okay, here's a bunch of expendable characters that we can kill off in gory scenes that don't mean anything to the story, so we don't have to lose any main characters. Now, you come in, yeah, gruesome scene, absolutely. The shot to the back of the head, and then, you know, the gruesome shot across the throat. Very, very cool, very, very well done by, you know, Nicotero and their team and all that. But it's very much guy that doesn't matter, guy that doesn't matter, guy that doesn't matter, guy that doesn't matter. Oh, that's Glenn, let's wait for the interruption now. Yeah. And the obviousness of that, like, took me up. It wasn't that the scene was done badly at all.
It was just too predictable.
It was too predictable, and it was almost, when they got to Glenn, I was just like, okay, something's going to happen.
I know he's not going to die, but I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen here.
Not even that for me. Like, I know there's going to be an interruption.
Like, so, it was one of those nail biters, like, you know he's not going to die, but you're still kind of, like, intrigued. Like, you're sitting there, you're like, oh my god, this is actually happening to them. Like, whoa! But then it comes down to the point where the obviousness kicks in, and it's just like, interruption, interruption, interruption. How many times is Glenn going to sit there and be like, thank God?
Well, and the thing is, too, is, like, as far as cast and cast of characters type structure, Glenn's not going to go.
No.
Glenn and Maggie are the only love interest couple on the entire show. They're the whole, they're the butterfly, you know, love can still exist even in a zombie apocalypse. Like, they're not going to go, and
well, they tried that with Rick, Lori, and Shane, but I mean, like, look how bad that turned in.
Yeah, but that girl had more holes in her when she was alive than when she was dead. Let's be real. Who liked Lori? I'm just saying, put it out there. Put it down in the comments section below. Who liked Lori? Nobody? Okay, good. We can move on. But, like, Maggie is Maggie. And, Maggie. Okay, I'm done. Speaking of predictability, though, I have to go to another part in the episode where we had Carol and... What's his name? The guy, the dude with Carol. Tyrese, there we go. Tyrese. And Judith, when they got separated, or no, when Judith went off to do her whole, like, guerrilla Rambo thing that we're going to talk about in a second.
Judith did that.
Oh, Carol did that. Hey, sometimes it is just a hat holder, alright? When Carol went off to do her, like, you know, Rambo thing, and Tyrese was left with the baby, and they were with that guy in the shack from Terminus, basically, his monologue there about, you know, you're a good guy, that's why you're not going to survive, you know, you should have killed me by now, why haven't you killed me? Like, basically, he's the moral compass.
Yeah.
He is representing where the world is at this point, and why guys like Tyrese is going to die this season. Like, I think we can agree on that. But again, it went to the whole, like, his big thing against Tyrese was the fact that he was going to, you know, break Judith's neck. And again...
It isn't Tyrese. I'm just going to put this out there right now. If it isn't Tyrese, I have a strong feeling it's going to be his sister. It's going to be one of the two.
Yeah. I don't really... I'm not connected to either one of them, so I'm pretty much okay with that.
They're just kind of there.
Your phone did a thing.
Yeah. So I did stuff.
But it was... Ha! Well done. But again, same with the Troth. As soon as he reaches for Judith, I got disconnected from the scene, because I'm like, they're not going to do that.
No.
Like, the closest they came was last season, you know, look at the flowers, yada, yada, yada. But they're not going to kill Rick's baby before the, you know, insert feel-good moment here reunion, which we're going to talk about later. But again, both scenes, you know, they were intense. They did their proper thing and all that. The predictability of how they were put together just took me out a little bit. Not so much, obviously, that I didn't enjoy the episode.
Visuals as well. The visuals kind of set me off, because...
You see the massive hand on the baby's throat, it's like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not even that. It's when they were transitioning from the view of the baby to the view of him with his hands inside of the bucket thing that they had her in. And when they showed him on the third person, not him looking down at the baby, and it just showed him like this, you could tell there was nothing in there because you could see the top of his hands. I mean, like, visually appealing, it wasn't really that well done. Right. But the predictability itself of that entire scene was...
It was a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a disconnect, and without that, like I say, amazing episode. Think about how much more we could have been into it if they had just gotten rid of some of those predictable elements. Like, if they had done the interruption before the last expendable character was slashed in the trough. That would have been something. We could have at least had a theory, even if the guy got killed in the next scene or whatever.
Yeah.
You could think, okay, this guy survived. Maybe he survived for a reason. Maybe he's going to be the next guy. Oh, look at that.
Well, you got to think of how they did it too. With you saying that he was basically Tyrese's moral compass. When it came down to Tyrese...
I didn't mean for Tyrese. I meant, like, for the audience, he was a compass as to this is where the world is now.
Oh, yeah. Well, it still works towards the same to Tyrese, for his first-person aspect. And you got to think from seeing where that kid is right there, it's bringing the moral compass. Saying what he's saying and doing what he's doing. But what really happens is when he has the hold of Judith, and he says, "Don't make me."
Yeah. The other thing is
that's
too.
When Tyrese sat there and said, "I'm in this situation. You're going to make me do something I don't want to do." And that.
The other part of it too is I think by that guy, I don't recall his name, the guy from Terminus. By him meeting somebody like Tyrese, I think he realizes what a bad person he's become. It's like, please be as bad as me, so that I can just wash this off as okay, the whole world's bad now, and not that I'm this asshole doing this bad stuff and things.
Because he even said it. He's just like, I don't want to do this today.
Yeah.
Like, what are you expecting to be doing other than, like, protecting yourself? You're not really protecting yourself at this point. You're being the aggressor. Yeah. And you're forcing someone else to defend. And sometimes to defend, it's to be aggressive.
Yeah.
To be aggressive. It's...
Absolutely.
You gotta look from the good side. I want to talk about Carol.
Let's talk about Carol.
Going from the person she was when she got kicked out to the point where the audience reunited with her for the first time. There was that transitional period where she wasn't a part of the group because Rick kicked her out, and then all of a sudden she comes back and she's with Tyrese because this bad thing happened at the prison, and this is where we are right now. She's admitted to Tyrese, the only other person she's with aside from a baby that she has behind her back, admitting to him that
she burned the bodies.
Yeah, she killed them and burned the bodies, and then he forgave her. Now it's a matter of a trust thing between them, because even in the shack, Buddy referred to her as his friend, or that woman.
Yeah.
Because Tyrese didn't respond. He's still kind of up in the air about the entire thing. Like, he forgets.
Well, not that you can really blame him.
No, no, not at all. But I want to talk about how when she left, she was a different person than what she is now. Like, she's clearly advanced her skills and her mindset to do what she has to do to survive, considering she was more than likely on her own between when she was gone and when she came back. And it showed. It showed in the premiere because of how she just went out nonchalant. I'm going to rip this thing open, cover myself in guts. I'm going to load myself with guns under this poncho, cover my face with dirt, and just walk into this place.
I do like that was, for those of us that have been watching since the beginning, I do like that little Easter egg where they revisited the idea of, okay, if you smell like a zombie, they're going to think you are a zombie. For people that have been following the show all the way through, I thought that was a really nice little touch.
It was. But I also liked how she was very concealing with how she had everything.
Oh, yeah.
She had the two rifles. And
pretty well contained, too.
Yeah. And knowing that herd of walkers was heading towards Terminus, and watching what they were doing, they were taking their canes and their pokey items, and they were bashing them in the heads and killing zombies outside the fence, and then all of a sudden she realizes they're screaming and figures out, oh, it's that herd of walkers I was talking about earlier. Perfect, I'm going to let them gather up at the fence. I'm going to shoot the propane tank that I just saw, and I'm going to use this bag of fireworks, and you have very pinpoint precision, mind you, with a bottle rocket.
Yeah, kind of a nice little flashback to the prison, too, with the idea of there being guards at the fence and sort of zombie fishing through the fence. With other people, and I've seen posted on Facebook, I didn't notice it at the time, I'm not going to lie, but there was one zombie there that was apparently the hippie kid that Carol and Rick had ran into. Some people are saying one of the other zombies looked like Andrea, which we assume she shot herself in the head, but if that had somehow not happened...
On the train tracks, just before they seen the herd coming.
There's a lot of Easter eggs for people that have been following the whole show all the way along, which I think is really cool. I think it's one of those things where the director, producer, whoever's putting those ideas together, it's a reward for the people that have been following the show since the beginning. And it's something for the people that have, watching with maybe the people that are only getting into it now. You know, you and I have watched obviously since the beginning.
religiously.
And somebody else watching with us now, we're like, what are you so excited about? Well, go back and check out season 1, and somebody goes back and sort of revisits it, and then they get excited, they pass it on, and et cetera, et cetera. But when things come full circle like that, it's a really nice little.
It's a nice payoff.
It's a nice bow on the story as to where we are so far and whatnot. Carol, I think it's funny. You mentioned how much she's changed since Rick left her. I think the same attitudes that led Carol to do what she did in the prison are still very much there. I think she's stayed the same and gotten more of a backbone to her as far as do whatever I have to do to survive and do whatever I have to do to survive in the scenarios that we've been given. So I don't think she's necessarily changed from the prison, because in the prison she did what she felt she had to do.
Yeah.
And I think for the crowd to see her come back and rejoin the group or whatever, there's a lot of us that might make the argument that Rick was wrong to eject her.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's right or wrong is obviously up to speculation. You can argue both sides.
You can.
What I would love to say, as far as Carol, as far as progress in Carol, is think about Carol back on the campground with her friggin' husband. Yeah. From then till now.
Oh,
there's your changeover.
She's got a complete 180 on the moral spectrum. Her compass is just
it's spinning.
It's going like this.
It's kind of funny because you think about sort of the dominant female characters on the show. Carol's definitely in the conversation, but top of that list has to be Michonne and Maggie. Yeah. Usually, especially like Michonne in general, but especially Maggie when she was in pursuit of Glenn, and that being her driving force moving forward. But Carol is, she's raising her hand and throwing her hat in the ring as far as the stronger female characters on the show. Like, it's one of those situations where when Rick went crazy last year and other people took over, like if Rick went crazy again, I don't think very many people could doubt that Carol would be in the running to sort of lead them on, or at least interim lead them on until Rick got his shit together again.
It would Rick could just go.
There's so many other people.
Carol.
It's the Daryl show. Let's be real. It's the Daryl and Maggie show. It's maybe the me and Maggie show. Maybe. Could be a thing.
Could definitely some stuff will happen.
But yeah, no, Carol. I'm going to get more into some of the Carol things when we move on later on. But definitely Carol, as far as progress from the beginning, not necessarily from when she got kicked out. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on that one, because I think all she did was take the Carol that was kicked out of the prison at the time and strengthen her resolve in being that person.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's picked up survival skills along the way. Obviously, she's a badass as far as the painting herself with the zombie guts, and she's familiarized herself with some artillery. Yeah. For sure. Like you say, the precision fireworks shot into the gas tank.
Oh yeah. Just a matter it's a circumstantial thing clearly, but I mean
the fact that she uses one of her rifles as a rocket launcher for the firework.
Yeah.
Well, and had it set just right in the fence and all that sort of. There's some things you got to like. That's a little bit suspect and whatever, but you go with it because it's the kind of show that it is. But
it's awesome. Who doesn't love awesome?
Yeah.
Awesome is almost just as good as bacon.
I like bacon.
I love bacon.
You think there's any bacon left in the zombie apocalypse? Bacon?
I think the lack of bacon is what causes it.
Speaking of character arc,
Rick.
Rick?
We gotta talk about Rick.
We gotta talk about Rick.
Rick is kind of okay now.
Rick, long before we got the idea to do this, what did we say? Virtually every week we had a hashtag.
Rick is not okay.
Somebody is not okay. Glenn is not okay. Merle is definitely not okay.
Not anymore.
But I don't know. I think pretty much everybody's okay so far.
I think Rick is.
I think going forward we should just decide who wasn't okay this week. I think that should be a thing. Guys, should that be a thing? Should we hashtag who's not okay? Let us know in the comment section below.
Video replies, comments.
Video replies, talk down there, not my crotch, but the comment section down. It's a thing with stuff. Really?
Yeah.
Zombies give great head, I hear. But anyways, let's talk about Rick.
Let's talk about Rick. I want to talk about how he's from when he was in the prison to this point. the amount of conflicts he's had to deal with the biker gang that Daryl ended up having to be a part of. He's kind of tweaked his mind a little bit from, okay, you know what, I kind of want to step back and take a break from all this, and you know, I want to be the guy that grows the food rather than being.
I want to be the farmer.
Yeah.
Let somebody else carry the guns.
Exactly. And now he's sitting there, and after they escaped Terminus, he wanted to go back, and he had that stuck in his mind. Like they don't deserve they don't deserve to live. They don't have a right to be here anymore. So we have to go back and end them. Meanwhile, still coming out of there just barely.
Mm-hmm. Whereas it's one of those things where it's a progression in character, but it's almost a progression that's going to bite him in the ass. Yeah, I think most of us would be along the lines of kill whoever you have to kill to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And then get the fuck out of there. But you go back, like right to your point, like they barely got out.
We never returned to the scene of the crime.
That's true. But again, I'm going to agree with you. My much like I did with Carol, my story arc is going to start more like from beginning to Rick when he had when he was still sort of shedding sort of those policeman morals.
Yeah.
You know, the good, you know, sheriff.
The justice.
Well, you know, what did he call himself in the first season? You know, I'm officer friendly from up the road a ways.
Yeah.
Going from I'm only going to kill zombies to I'm only going to kill zombies and I'll kill if I have to defend myself to I'm only going to kill zombies but I will kill somebody that fucks with us to I'm basically going to kill anybody that's not us to I'm going to seek revenge on everybody that's not us. That's quite a progression.
It is.
You know, you picture nice clean Rick in his nice clean shirt with his tin badge and all that, you know, sticking up for truth, justice, and let's be honest, the American way, to fuck everybody, whether you have a pulse or not.
Yeah.
Like, that's Andrew Lincoln. Like, let's be real. Fantastic. Hell of an actor. For somebody that I know he's been in movies and whatnot, and my mom, of all people, who also watches the show, as you know, has so many. He's been in like some cheesy romance movies and shit. I'm like, don't tell me that. Like,
don't
ever.
This
it's bad enough that I can't watch Boondock Saints again because I'll be like, fuck off, dude. You're Daryl. Be Daryl. But
I actually heard they were making a third Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah. Well, if you've ever seen the Boondock Saints, they basically leave it on a cliffhanger.
It was just a matter of when.
This is not the Boondock Saints podcast, though.
No.
You are in green. You could pass for Irish, but this is not a thing right now. No. You can do it, Jake. Rule of thumb. But no, in all seriousness, Andrew Lincoln, especially because he's like fucking British, or whatever the hell he is. You know, Georgia sheriff gone like somewhat mountain man a little bit. When they were on the farm and they gave him fresh, clean clothes, and he actually, like, it wasn't even his set of drawers, but he basically, like, put away his shirt and put away his badge. Yeah. Like, that was step one, be like, these are not the rules we follow anymore. Yeah. To now where he pretty much is. He's like, fuck. He's gone from killing in defense to putting himself back in danger to get the killing done. Which is not, I think, it's not a horrible idea. It's not a horrible idea, but, I mean, we all know that he would kill to defend his new family.
He's coming from this point of view. He got fucked at the farm with all the zombies.
Yeah.
And there was the governor that started
the thing with Woodbury.
The thing with Woodbury. And then it started progressing to the prison, where people were constantly fucking with them from where they were. They were just.
I think
he's like, you know what? I'm tired with people fucking with me.
He's tired of being fucked with. Like, period. Like, I think it's like he's finally stopped drawing the line between people and zombies and just situations in life in general. It's just like, whether it's life, whether it's circumstances, whether it's zombies, other people in his own group, like Shane, for example, he's done with being fucked with. Period. And I think that's what it's as a character, and I hope they go. I think that's one of those characters, one of those character development points where they have to push him to that point and then bring him back to a medium.
Yeah.
For the group to progress forward.
Yeah.
Because there's no real group without Rick, as much as we consider it, like we did before.
Take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, kind of.
Yeah. As much as we've talked before about, you know, how Daryl and them took over in the past and how Carol could take over, Michonne could take over.
Yeah.
Ultimately, whether he's sitting on the throne or not, Rick is the head of that group, whether he wants to be or not.
Yeah.
At this point, like even in the prison, you saw the point where Carl was like, "You need to take a step back. Like we've got this. You need to chill."
Yeah.
But like even then, they ultimately ended up going back to him. They ultimately ended up coming back to him as the farmer and being like, "No, we need you to be this guy. Not necessarily because you're the best guy, but like we rally around you because we can."
Yeah.
I think we've talked Rick to death. I do want to say, and I think we talked about this a little bit in the trough scene, the episode as a whole, as we've driven into the ground now, was fantastic.
Yep.
The way they wrote the story of this episode was very safe. All the decisions that they made with the story were very safe. Tyrese and Carol are way cooler than they should be.
Yeah.
The whole reunion with Rick was way too easy. I mean, all power to her. Carol saved all of them.
Yeah.
And that's it. That is a thing.
I kicked you out, and now you just saved our asses.
But even still, like, to have that, that nice, feel-good family butterfly ending, it didn't suit. Yeah, right in the fields, for sure. But it didn't feel like Walking Dead.
No.
Ultimately, as the viewers, we're supposed to be happy that the group all got together again. What I really wanted, and I've talked this to death, and I talked this to death before we even got into this season, I wanted Carol to go crazy. Because we all know, at one point...
She was on the brink.
She was on the brink, but no, more specifically, at one point, she did blame Rick for Sophia dying and becoming a zombie or whatever. And ultimately, it had to be done, but Rick was the one that took Sophia down as a zombie. Had to be done because she was a zombie, but she still watched Rick shoot her daughter in the head. Yep. You can't deny the psychological effects of that. I would have loved to see Carol go almost to the point of, hey, we're all together again, Judith's okay, and have a complete fucking mental break and be like, fuck you, you killed my daughter, now I've got yours, and Carol becomes the new focal villain. Yeah. Because as much as I know we're going to get a new villain down the line, it's hard, and it was really hard with the governor even. Like with Shane, it was cool, because Shane was a villain that came up from the middle of the story. Governor was brand new, it's just like, okay, we accepted him, he's the new bad guy. Carol coming up through the story, us as the audience having a connection with her, and developing into the new villain would have created, all the story was already there, so it would have been easy from that perspective, but it would have, we would have had following, we as an audience, we have a history with Carol, and we understand everything that led up to her becoming a villain, and it would be one of those villains that is a bad. It's like Shane. Shane was an asshole, but there were several points in before his demise where you could definitely see where he was coming from.
Oh yeah.
He got dicked around by Lori hard, and dicking and stuff and
hard
things. Hard dickings. Maybe Judith. Judith is a thing, maybe from Shane's thing. But no, you could, with the governor, he was just introduced to you as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Shane, for better or for worse, was a hero at the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
No matter how
the guy turned bad.
But no matter how he did it, he did shave. He did not shave. He saved. First day with my new town, I promise. He saved Lori and Carl when Rick couldn't. Yeah. So ultimately, he did start off as a good guy. Yeah. He got fucked around a lot. He dealt with a lot of conflict. He became the asshole that he became, and I'm sure having the zombie fever or whatever didn't help either. With Carol, we've followed Carol for 4 seasons. As we've talked about already in this episode, we've seen the growth of her character. So for her to then go bad, we could see why there's a conflict.
Yeah.
I don't think as an audience at this point, I don't think the audience would be able to take a side. I think the storytelling possibilities there would have been fantastic.
Take notes, Nicarado.
Nicotero.
I'm gonna edit that in.
Nah, man, we're gonna fly by the seat of our pants. But yeah, there's a lot, and I go back to the predictability of the trough scene. It was safe. Kill off 4 guys that we don't know, and then let the guys do their thing. Although I will say them fashioning all the weapons out of random pieces of wood and the zippers of their pants and shit in the container was pretty fucking awesome.
That was pretty good. Honestly, in a million years, I never would have thought of using a zipper.
As a saw?
As a saw.
I don't think that's really a thing. That's one of those things we kind of let it go.
Zippers, I can imagine it being possible. Depending on the stitching, that's...
It could.
That'll be another segment at a different time.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I'm going to let it go because it helps the story along, but I'm kind of going to roll my eyes at that one. Yeah. Not nearly enough to make me not like the episode, but I'm going to kind of roll my eyes at that shit. I mean, even the director, if you watch Talking Dead, which, I mean, you won't have to now because you can watch us instead, and Chris Hardwick ain't got nothing on us. God. But if you did watch The Walking Dead, when they do the little pop-up things, they said, even in the production, when they made Michonne's weapon, they were thinking of the double-ended Sith lightsaber. I'm like, that's a little too... It's gimmicky.
Yeah.
Like, it's Michonne, and she's like super ninja, pirate, dreadlock, predator chick. But it was a little on the nose, that one. I'm just a little... Just putting that one on there. Anyways,
Magical Cure.
The magical
Eugene's Magical Cure. I want to talk about that.
Go for it.
I want to talk about...
I've been waiting for talk about this because I have the one major flaw in Eugene's theory, but I'll let you go first.
The whole idea, I don't know if everybody understood it, but what he was basically saying is that he was one of a handful of people that had knowledge.
He doesn't look like a scientist. Just saying.
Well, not now. He probably did before.
So he grew the mullet after the apocalypse?
Yeah.
Mullet. Apocalypse.
Mullet apocalypse. Anyways, he was one of a handful amount of people that had the secrets and knowledge to destroy every living person on the planet. And his job was to get to Washington, D.C. to attempt to flip that switch on the other angle and put it to killing off the dead already. So his plan was to annihilate all the dead using this, whether it be chemical warfare or what.
Magical potion in a bomb. He's an undead terrorist.
Ahmed?
Undead terrorist, not dead terrorist.
Oh.
And he doesn't have anybody's hand up his ass unless he's been doing that off camera.
Ooh. But that's what he wanted to do, was he wanted to switch, flip the switch over and kill off all the dead people rather than all the living people, and saving the entire planet. Why would he tell them this, if not in fear for his own life? He was even saying that this secret would go to the grave with me. But then he sat there and turned around and told them anyways. Could it have been because he was in a room full of people that he knew were friends, that were going to do everything that they could to stay together, and he figured he might have owed them something? Like, you know what? I think you deserve an explanation. This is what we're working towards, and this is why we're doing it, and this is how we're going to do it.
I think Eugene's not a fighter, so he needs to prove himself as...
He showed that as he ran out of the boxcar.
Yeah. He needs to prove himself prove to the others that he is of some worth to their group.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'm not just blowing smoke up everyone's ass. These people know exactly what they know, and this is...
Here's the problem. You got all these weapons that were supposedly designed before the apocalypse to kill all the living. Now you want to switch that over so that you kill the undead instead. Problem with that being, what did we learn between the farm and the prison? Everybody has the virus.
Yeah.
So if you make something that's going to kill just zombies, it's going to be on some kind of biological level. So if I go, worst possible case scenario, he designs something to kill zombies because everybody has that zombie gene, that zombie virus or whatever. The bomb that he creates to kill the zombies could eradicate everybody.
It could, but that's probably a chance they're willing to take. We're all going to die anyways. If this is our last-ditch effort, then you know what?
See, I think the world at this point is much more likely to just create a scenario where it's like, okay, you don't have a choice on whether you're buried or burned or cremated or whatever. When you die, we burn you so that you don't come back as a zombie. And that basically, because you have to die before you become a zombie, right? So if there's no zombies to do the biting that's going to accelerate that zombie process. So basically all we do is take out the option of how you're dealt with, funeral-wise, whatever. Yeah. And eventually, hunt down all the zombies that are zombies right now, and then from that point on, understand that everybody on the planet has that zombie gene, virus, whatever it is, and just say, when somebody dies, this is how you dispose of them.
Yeah.
I think people are much more likely to sign on to something like that, as simple as it sounds, rather than a chemical or a biological weapon that could possibly eradicate the living on the planet as well.
This is true. I'm actually surprised you came up with that. High five.
I do stuff
Yes.
and things.
Let's do our badass.
Let's do it.
Who is the badass?
We're gonna try and do this, guys. We're gonna ramble. This has been a ramble for quite a while. There is going to be structure to this show eventually, largely hinging on whether or not you guys respond to it. I'm not gonna lie. Who's the badass? Who's the bitch? You want to go first?
Carol's the badass in this one.
Yeah, we're gonna agree.
I think that's a unanimous vote that Carol is the badass of this episode.
As much as I feel they could have done so much more with her character, you can't deny that she was the shining star of the episode. Plus, she was the prodigal daughter returning to the group as well. So there's that feels. Even though I don't agree with how we got to the feels, there's feels. There's emotional shit. People feel shit. Whatever.
Yeah.
But she did blow up Terminus single-handedly. This is a group that captured the entire rest of the group, and Carol took them out by herself.
Before we go to our badass or bitch, I have one thing I just thought of.
Did you?
The episode had then and now.
Yeah.
It showed Garrett from when he was in their position.
Yes.
It showed exactly what was going on before to them before they came along.
Yes.
And this is why they are the way they are.
Yes.
It kind of puts the audience in an understanding. And
It
at the
does,
end of it,
but
Rick shoots up. He shoots. We think he shoots Garrett in the shoulder or something because if you wait, but we don't know if he's dead. He could still be existing.
Oh, on the spectrum of things we don't know, before we go to badass and bitch, where the hell is Beth?
Yes, Beth is still MIA.
See, here's the deal. Here's the quandary that we have, and I haven't talked a lot about Daryl in this episode because really he wasn't the focus, which is rare for this show. I'm not gonna lie. But Carol's back. I'm assuming Beth's gonna come back eventually. So the ultimate choice that Daryl has right now is: does he go really young or really old? Stuff and things. And stuff and things. Anyways,
here Beth isn't.
That's true too.
Actually
what's attractive is what's readily available.
There was also a rumor that I've heard on the interwebs that Garrett's mother, the one that Carol had the little tiff with
in that candle
the
memorial room, yeah.
Yeah. There was rumor going around that she was wearing Beth's sweater.
I'd have to go back to one of the Beth episodes to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Badass Beth though, where they're where she's drinking moonshine like it's water and burning down houses and shit.
And then giving the finger, it's nobody's business.
Oh yeah, she's like little Daryl, even though she might be actually on little Daryl by the time the show is all said and done. Anyways, back to Badass. Carol's obviously the badass. That's going to be unanimous. For bitch,
the bitch.
I say Terminus as a whole is the bitch.
As a whole.
Because they got rammed by one person.
Yeah.
By one person, and then
Well, it wasn't just one person. One person started and did majority of the work. Rick and them did a lot of their own work on stuff.
Sorry to say, Rick and the rest of them picked the bones. Carol destroyed Terminus from the inside out.
I'm not saying that Carol's was insignificant. I'm just saying that they're both.
Much as I wish she had gone a lot crazier. Carol wrecked shop.
Oh yeah.
And Rick just sort of went, I want to go back and kill things.
So we got Carol as badass. We have Terminus as the bitch. Who's getting the zombie kill of the week? I think Carol should get it. Propane tanker.
Propane tank explosion?
Yep.
That propane tank, if you watch Talking Dead,
multi-kill.
If you watch Talking Dead, they told us apparently that entire propane tank was made out of styrofoam. How do you feel about life now?
Oh boy.
Anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it. That's Bird. You guys that have been watching this channel for a long time know I'm Spaz Phoenix. Hopefully this is going to be done quicker than it was this week. But put it down in the box below. Let us know what you think. Is there anything specifically that you guys would like us to see or would like to see us do on here that we haven't touched on? Do you have ideas? Do you have questions? Etc., etc., etc. The next one should be up next, I would say Monday, probably.
Next Monday probably. We'll do Monday shows. Give it another day after Walking Dead airs.
But this has been full of stuff, and it's definitely a thing.
Definitely.
Cheers.
A thing, buddy.